with some breaking news, guys. Seth Rollins injured his knee, and the WWE Universe is on fire. I am your host with the most, Donald Wood. To my left, Mike Chiari. Are you ready for this little special episode of Ring Rest?
Thursday Thunder?
Thursday Night Thunder, dude.
Born ready.
You were taping it on VHS. I know you were. BG, you excited for Thunder?
SmackDown.
No, it's Thunder. Sorry, SmackDown's occupied. Thursday. Ring Rust Radio on a Thursday.
Thursday.
All
right, let's get into this.
Okay, Mike Chiari, start us off. Just give us the news, Mr. Newsman.
Okay, well, Seth Rollins, I'm sure as everybody knows at this point, suffered a knee injury during a match with Kane in Ireland at a live event, trying to do like a sunset flip powerbomb off the ropes. He tweaked his knee, finished the match. The dirt sheets were saying, oh, he's just going to tape it up. And then he's going to keep working, as if taping a knee is a thing that you do. It's not. And he's not going to keep working because, according to WWE via Jonathan Coachman of ESPN, he is out for 6 to 9 months with a torn ACL and MCL. So he is going to be dropping the title. They're going to have a tournament to determine a new champion at Survivor Series, and every indication is Rollins will not be available for WrestleMania either.
That's tough. So no Seth, no Shield triple threat.
No, at least not for now.
Not for a while.
That hurts.
Yep.
That hurts a little bit. All right, well, okay, let's talk about his absence. Seth Rollins, your top heel is gone. Your champion is gone. Mike Chiari, how will this affect WWE right now, short term?
Well, it obviously hurts because Rollins is a guy who's in many segments every show. He's a guy who's main eventing most shows. He's your champion. He's one of the few heels that you have. Not that he's been booked that well, but one of your few top heels. So they're really kind of scrambling at this point. I'll say that it's not as big in the short term as it is in the longer term, though, because I think for now you can get by without Rollins. You have Reigns in the mix, and I think he's a guy that could carry the title. You have Ambrose in there. You can get by without Rollins for now, but where it's really going to hurt is leading up to WrestleMania because the way I see it, there's only really two possible things he was going to be involved with at WrestleMania. It was either going to be a Shield triple threat, or maybe he goes away from the Authority and faces Triple H. In either way, those are two huge matches. One would probably be the main event of the show. The other one against Triple H would be close to it. So he was going to be in a huge match regardless, and that really changes things for what you have at WrestleMania. So that's a really bad loss, especially because also he's one of your best in-ring workers, and you know every time he's out there, he's going to put on a great match. So really unfortunate that they're not going to have him for the biggest event of the year. But hopefully it leads to something and re-energizes his character a little bit, gives them an excuse to book him better when he comes back.
BG?
Devastating blow to WWE. Arguably the best in-ring talent in the world. One of the top heels in the world, despite how he's booked like shit, which we talk about all the time. But here's a guy who actually gets booed. It seems like it's rare for people to actually just be booed in wrestling, or at least in WWE nowadays. People just want to cheer their favorites. That's okay, but Seth Rollins is someone that he's so annoying as a heel, plus he's booked terribly, that you just boo him. And he was someone that would get under people's skins. Now there's just a major void. You have to look at someone like Kevin Owens coming up, maybe being a top heel, maybe they turn somebody, but they just put nearly a year of investment into Seth Rollins and building him up as a top heel to eventually you have to think where next year maybe he goes face for a big time face turn, and now you have to wait until he comes back from injury, which I'm just going to get to this right now. Second point on our agenda, I don't think he's able to come back in 9 months. I mean, we see athletes tear their ACL quite frequently, and it's very difficult for them to come back in 6 to 9 months. That seems
I think it depends on the grade of the injury, to be honest.
It depends who you are. Adrian Peterson can come back and be the best running back in football in less than that, but another guy, it might take him a year or more to even come close to what he was before, so you never know. That's
right,
the thing.
And he tore his ACL, his MCL, and I believe another
medial,
ligament.
Yeah.
Something I can't even pronounce he tore. So I just
medial
have a
meniscus or something like that.
A very difficult time believing he's going to be back in 6 months. So I'm definitely looking at the 9-month range. You got to think he's coming back as a major face, but that prevents something that they could have done kind of spur of the moment, like when he turned on the Shield. It also just is a big blow to the road to WrestleMania because he was your top heel. There was all these options that we've been talking about with Seth Rollins. Shield triple threat. Does he go up against Brock Lesnar? Does he go up against Triple H? What do they do with Seth Rollins? Those have been the big questions. Can they get him back to being a top heel in the sense of champions that we were comfortable seeing growing up as far as being a heel? And now they can't reverse course. They have to really just, at this point, you got to just think that they're going to go with Roman Reigns, Donnie? Is that like, is it just that's it?
But before we get to picking who wins and everything, I want to talk about this quickly because I don't think this is so bad for the WWE. One, it forces a shakeup at a time where you also have Randy Orton out injured, who's a top face right now, and John Cena. I know he's not out injured, but he's going to be gone through December. I mean, they could always try to lure him back, especially because he's like Mr. Company Man. But if he's really filming a show like that, maybe he will be staying away. So at this moment, this is going to force WWE's hand. They're going to have to be creative. Whether it's good or bad will be seen as we go on.
I don't know if you're going to like this shakeup.
No, you're right. You're right. I might not like the shakeup, but it's definitely going to be different. I was tired of Seth Rollins opening the show every week. I was tired of him being booked like shit. I don't want him to. I don't want him to be injured. Oh, I'm gonna miss the Christmas. Ho ho ho. But honestly, I don't want to see him hurt at all. But
Right.
this will force a shakeup. Again, you have guys missing, and now he's going to be missing. Remember we talked about Ambrose not turning heel? Dude, this changes everything because he could totally, in the tournament, he could turn on Reigns and cost him the victory, and boom, you got a heel turn right there.
Now I see it less likely that he turns heel.
I
strangely
saw it
enough.
more likely. It's the exact opposite. I saw Ambrose more likely to turn heel than ever before because you're going to need someone. Because in my head, I was like, oh, this is where they would have flipped Orton, and Orton would have been the heel, and it would have just been a top heel. Not saying he'd win the championship, but saying that he'd be a top heel. But this could be where Ambrose turns. So let's talk about the return. I don't know what his injury, how the extent of it. I don't claim to be a doctor. So 9 months, 6 months, when his body's ready. Here's my thing. Don't rush him back because he's that damn good. I want him for. I'd rather have him 3 months later, and 10 more years. You know what I mean? So that's how you gotta look at the injuries. As far as having him return, BG, as soon as this happened, you're like, Triple H 2002.
No,
That's what you're like.
I
What
said
all
you're
denim.
You're like
all
he
the
needs
time.
he needs leather and denim, obviously.
That's not what I
Obviously.
said. That don't sound like
I need
that
I need
either.
a street fight against Shawn Michaels. Hey, they teach Shawn Michaels, so let's do it. Unsanctioned street fight.
That'd be great. No, that's not what I see. But I do see. Obviously, he's coming back as a face. It's obvious.
Obvious.
2017 Royal Rumble.
That's a long time away. That's a long time away. I think that's too long. I think he comes back at SummerSlam. If healthy, that's all this shit out the window. But I think he comes at SummerSlam is right in that 9 month time frame. So I think that would be you bring him back as soon as he's cleared and his knee is okay. You know, you don't.
I can't. Yeah, I can't say when he'll come back. I'm not even going to speculate on that. But I do have a possible scenario of what they could do when he does come back, because we all agree he's going to be a face. He's going to get a huge pop just because he is a top star, and when a top star is gone for a significant amount of time, comes back out of nowhere, that's huge. So I could see something like Reigns and Ambrose getting beaten down by some trio, maybe like an authority-led trio, Sheamus, Barrett, maybe BG, throw somebody else in there, Owens, I don't know.
I've got some bad news about your
Three
idea.
people potentially related to the authority in some way, beating them down. Rollins runs in to make the save, do a, maybe a short couple pay-per-view Shield reunion, and then you can still do the triple threat, perhaps at WrestleMania 33. But instead of the story being Reigns and Ambrose trying to get revenge on Rollins, which is probably what it would have been at 32, the story is going to be mutual respect and these guys trying to find out who's the best. So I think you could still do it, but just with a little bit different storyline twist.
Okay. All right. Well, BG, you alluded to it. I bumped my head and woke up in 1998 because Survivor Series Deadly Games is the second chapter of this
It
thing.
is upon us.
I have to go back and watch it.
We were talking about this last year. Do you remember this?
Oh yeah,
When we said that Lesnar should vacate the title and then do a Deadly Games tournament.
Yep, I remember.
Scoot, they heard you.
Circumstances this
It's
time.
such a good idea. I'm so happy they're doing this.
Well, hold on. They could fucking botch it, dude. It could be
It's a
four
tournament.
It could be
It's a
four
tournament.
people in this tournament, and it could be awful. Okay.
It's just gonna
By
be
the way,
Reigns in the tournament.
Reigns against Rollins is a cursed match because remember last year at Night of Champions, the old incarcerated hernia.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Mm.
They put his hernia on lockdown.
Yep.
Baby girl. Okay.
He was not locked, cocked, and ready to rock at all.
Okay, so who is the favorite? Who you got as your favorite? And then we'll talk about returns and then other stuff from there.
The favorite's easily Roman Reigns.
Right.
There's no question about
Number
it.
one
He was
contender.
the what's that?
Number one contender.
Yeah, he was the
Right,
guy that was
yeah.
going to be in the world title match, easily.
He's the top face. He's the powerhouse in WWE right now. It's obvious he's the favorite.
He's the juggernaut.
Right.
Okay, give me your number 2 and number 3 favorites. If you're betting, where are your number 2 and number 3 bets, Mike Chiari?
Um,
I'd say Dean Ambrose is probably one of them. If he
I
turns.
think Ambrose is one of them,
Yeah.
probably. Even though, honestly, and we'll get to it, I don't really believe anybody has much of a chance outside of Roman Reigns. But I guess if you're gonna put guys out there, it'd probably be Ambrose and Owens, unless there's gonna be a big return.
Okay. All right. BG.
I have Ambrose in my top 5. I think we were chatting earlier today. I also have Brock Lesnar in there. I could see Vince needing to pull trigger on getting Brock back. And I see Triple H as a big-time favorite.
That takes us right into the second question because I happen to agree with, like I said, ranking my top 5. I'll just give it to you real quick. Reigns is my number 1 choice. Not my number 1 choice, my most likely.
Right.
Come on, don't.
Yeah, it's not my number 1 choice either.
Yeah,
He's your number 1 choice.
No, he's not.
Okay.
He's not in my world. No world. Ambrose is my number 2. Triple H coming out to just say like, hey, you know what? Nobody else is good enough to replace Rollins. Rollins was the de facto Triple H anyway with the pedigree. He was just keeping his spot warm basically. And now Triple H is like, I guess.
Defiant, Dad.
I guess I'll work Tuesdays. And then Brock I have as my 4 because if there truly is panic and you're willing to throw away all the WrestleMania plans and just, you know what, we got to take what we have now and move forward with it. If you can get Brock to agree to come back, I know there'll be contractual things because everything he does is probably planned way fucking ahead of time. So you'd have to kind of work around that stuff. In that case, if you get Brock Lesnar back, him winning the championship would just be that would lead. If you want Reigns to win the championship at WrestleMania 32, having Lesnar win the championship and carry it into 32, and Reigns beats him for it, that'd be a pretty huge moment. I don't like Reigns, but that's a huge rematch. Exactly. It works. And the dark horse, of course, for me, it would be Daniel Bryan. If he's medically cleared, if there's somehow you could get him, that's the kind of impact player who would be there every week, who would work SmackDowns when needed, and who could carry that championship, and who wouldn't mind dropping it when the right time called. Another person that I got my eye on is if a face wins this fucking tournament, watch out for Sheamus, because this could be the chance of, hey, I don't know, like you said, he could have easily won or cashed that in and lost, and none of us would have batted an eye at it. But this could also be the start of something bigger that carries you through into the Royal Rumble. So let's say Roman Reigns does win it, Sheamus cashes in, and you move forward with Sheamus versus Reigns until the Royal Rumble.
That's good, which would also be a great feud in my opinion. Great matches. Sheamus, I think, is very underrated at this point. And it builds that sympathy that we keep talking about for Reigns, where it's like, hey, you just won the title and you got screwed, just like the Daniel Bryan effect with Randy Orton at SummerSlam 2013. So I think that's a great point, Donnie.
All my thunder's been stolen, so.
Oh shit!
Because
they call me. How about what about Cena? Do you think they would bring? You talk about Cena then? Talk about anybody? Give me other dark horses here.
There's going to be anybody out of the ordinary being brought in for this. To be honest with you.
What about The Rock, dude?
Absolutely not. That's the least likely. Brian, because I'm looking at the tournament, and I assume we'll talk about, maybe the 8 or however many guys they're going to be in the tournament.
Tell me right now, how many are going to be in it?
I think 8 will be in it. Yeah, I think they'll do an 8-man tournament all that night.
Yeah, and that's what they're from the article I read. It seems like it's a one-night tournament. They could easily just be like, no, we meant that's the culmination of the tournament. We're going to do matches leading up to it.
No. It's the Deli Games.
Oh, I heard per Dirt Sheet they could change everything on a whim.
Yeah,
just like that.
We'll get that next week.
Okay.
But the thing with John Cena is, in my opinion, because they're probably, if he's filming a TV show, we don't even know why he's not with WWE right now. They never announced it as far as I know or what I read. But they're probably not filming on Sunday night, November 22nd. So John Cena is the type of guy who will be like, listen, you want to fly me in for a tournament and have someone maybe upset me or I get screwed in the finals? Fine.
I don't. I think that he's either got to be all in or not at
Right.
all.
I don't think he's coming back to not win the title.
Yeah.
And I also don't think he's coming back to win the title because then he'd have to be around. So
Yeah, I don't
I don't
he's
think
coming back
that
to win the
works.
title.
And I don't think Brock works because I think I assume they'd have to throw extra money at Brock to get him to come back since this is not part of what he was supposed to do, obviously. Bryan, always a possibility, we would hope. Maybe this is where they say, well, screw the whole concussion thing and let him come back. But then if you look at the possible...
Screw the concussion thing.
Screw
They're
the
definitely
concussion
not
thing.
saying that. They're not going
Yeah.
to say that.
Quote Chiari on that one.
Yeah.
Screw it.
That's a
but if
Meltz
you look-
line right there, dude.
If you look at the
I'm not.
tournament...
It's not with my opinion. This is fact. Screw
Don't
concussion.
remind me of anything
Meltz
that
it.
happened in that podcast. The thing about Bryan, though, is if you look at who the possible guys in this tournament, it's very face heavy already. So I don't see Bryan. And Jericho is written here. He's touring that night. He's going to have a concert, not available. Sting, if he's there, probably involved in the Brothers of Destruction deal. So I just don't see anybody out of the ordinary being a part of it.
Okay.
So do you guys have any dark horses? Because I have a pretty big dark horse for this.
Give me. I got a dark horse.
Cesaro heel turn. Gets the mouthpiece of the Authority. He's one of the best in-ring workers, which the Authority clearly covet. And it would just be such a boost for someone that Vince sees Stone Cold celebrating every turn.
I don't see that happening, but it's a dark horse, so I can see where you're coming from. I see the idea. I would see something like I'm trying to think of it. Maybe what about Ziggler? He gets a push over Survivor Series. Like, is this his Survivor Series push now?
I would be all about
To-
that.
what
but I
if,
just think he's
hold
gonna-
on. What if Ziggler cashes? What if Ziggler wins? Sheamus cashes in on him, and they never give the belt back to Ziggler.
I think it has more impact with Reigns for what they want to do. I agree with you. It's probably better. It's better for us if Ziggler does it, but I think in that scenario they're going to go with Reigns.
I don't think there's a dark horse, realistically. I really don't.
We gotta reach for something, dude.
I think it's Reigns or bust.
Now here's an interesting question posed by BG. Should NXT have a tournament / battle royal, whatever it is, for a spot to get into this tournament? I'll start with you, Mike Chiari.
Well, I was looking at it, and I guess it's technically something they could do because they have a taping on the 19th. But I don't think it's something that will happen, and I don't think it's something that should happen necessarily because your only options would be Balor, Samoa Joe, or Apollo Crews, guys that would
Baron
you
Corbin, Rhino. You could give me 8 to 10 guys who could win the tournament. Or if it's a battle royal, you could have fucking Bull Dempsey win, dude. Hey,
Talking about
Haystacks
guys
Calhoun
who could
call.
buy in a freaking WWE World Title tournament, and those are.
You need people to job in the first round too.
But then what's the point of it, really? If you're bringing the guy in the job, and that's why I wouldn't do it because whoever wins it, they're not going to win the tournament. I understand that they can get their feet wet on the main roster. It would be a cool kind of little wrinkle added to it. They get a little bit of experience, but for me, I wouldn't elevate a guy for a short period of time just to go in the tournament and then lose. And then they're probably going to go back because I don't think you're calling up Finn Balor right now or Samoa Joe or Apollo Crews to be on the roster full time. So for me, especially when you have so many guys that you're not really doing anything with on the main roster, like really talented guys like Cesaro and Neville and guys like that, I don't think it would make a whole lot of sense at this point to bring somebody up from NXT and put them in that.
BG?
I just think it would be a really cool idea for them. Even if they had tapings, all you have to do is postpone it 1 week and have a live show or tape before a Raw or whatever they want to do.
It could be part of Raw.
Right. I think it would be just a cool thing for NXT. I don't see it happening. It was just something I thought of based on how they've done in the past of like, hey, come in to get a shot at the Royal Rumble, and where you would then go on to main event WrestleMania. Like, obviously it's not going to happen, but it's a cool thing for NXT. It gives them some exposure on the main roster. It's only a one-night tournament anyway, so I think it would be interesting.
I'd love it. Because I would have a fatal 4-way for the spot. It would be Balor, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe,
Not the other Balor?
Baron Corbin. I actually I messed up writing this down. I
Balor
wrote Joe, comma Finn, comma Balor, comma Cruz.
That's the way it should be.
It's supposed to be
Baron
cool.
Corbin.
It's supposed to be Baron Corbin, but
So it should be a triple threat.
The four of them
Agreed.
fight. Baron Corbin wins it by attacking Apollo Crews or something, setting up more of their feud, and then you could have Baron Corbin come up and just chop the.
It's like the most disgusting idea I've ever heard. No.
Plus, I mean, Baron Corbin's been in NXT for a while. They probably want to call him up soon anyway.
Yeah, please get him out
What?
of my
No,
NXT.
don't.
Please get him away from my NXT.
Leave him. Get him out.
I'll trade him for Neville. Give me Neville back. I'll give you Corbin. How about that? Okay, so Mike Chiari, official prediction, way far away, way too early. Who wins and how does it shake out? D'Lo Brown style.
Are we revealing what we think the tournament bracket will be? Because I have one that I think.
I will make one as you fucking sit there. Yeah, go ahead, do it.
Okay. Well, the way I'm looking at it is there's some guys that are obvious are going to be there, and there's some guys that I think there's feuds that. So I'm looking at guys who maybe don't have a storyline that they would be able to fit in fairly easily, and then some guys who are in feuds that probably would have had a singles match at the pay-per-view, but now they move them into the tournament. So here are guys that I'm looking at are going to be in the tournament. I think Reigns is in. I think Ambrose and Owens are in rather than having the IC title match. I think Ziggler and Breeze are in rather than having their singles match. I think that Ryback is in. I think that The Miz is in. And I think that Big Show is coming back to be put in.
God, that's so
and
gross, dude.
Mind you, these aren't things that I want. These are things that I just see happening. And then you have the breakdown with half faces and half heels. So the way I have it breaking down, Reigns beats Big Show in the first round. Breeze beats Ziggler in the first round. Owens beats Ryback. Ambrose beats Miz, and then Reigns beats Breeze. Owens beats Ambrose. So the final is Reigns and Owens. I think Reigns wins, and then you guys touched on this earlier. I think we get a Sheamus cash-in because obviously Triple H, the Authority, you would think they're going to be hell-bent against having Roman Reigns win this tournament. And now their plan A is gone in the form of Seth Rollins, or maybe their plan A is to have Kevin Owens or whoever, somebody beat Reigns in this tournament. Doesn't happen. I could see Owens very easily beating up Reigns after the match, power bombing him on the apron. Reigns will have already fought 3 matches in the same night. Triple H comes out, says there's always a plan B for the Authority. Enter Sheamus, cashes in Money in the Bank, wins the title, and then you can book very easily to WrestleMania. I feel like you can do the rematch at TLC. Reigns wins it back. You would think they're going to have a rematch at Royal Rumble. I mentioned a couple episodes ago, I think that Brock Lesnar is going to be going after the title at Royal Rumble, making another triple threat. He was in a triple threat for the title last year. Lesnar against Reigns against Sheamus. Maybe, and now you're getting less options for Lesnar in terms of what he can do at WrestleMania. I mentioned the possibility of facing Wyatt. Maybe the Wyatts get involved there. Reigns ends up pinning Sheamus. Ambrose wins the Rumble, move forward, Reigns against Ambrose for the title at WrestleMania.
My God, did you think this out?
Yep.
That's
Mapped
good.
it out.
Good job. BG, do you have any thoughts on that? And do you have any thoughts of your own?
So here's my thoughts on Chiari's. I think the triple threat for Royal Rumble is good because obviously I think it's obvious that Brock Lesnar is coming back at the Royal Rumble to be in a world title match, which is why I feel like if Reigns wins this tournament, they could certainly be booking towards that rematch, that WrestleMania rematch, and then split them off to whatever they're going to do at WrestleMania. So I have two thoughts on this tournament. One is one that's crazy. If they decide to bring back a guy like Brock Lesnar, I see him winning it, then going on to defend against Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. Less likely is something that Chiari and I were talking about. We came up with quite the storyline.
Are we talking Deadly Games Truly Part 2?
Deadly Games Truly Part 2.
Yes.
1998 just done again in 2015, which was such a concocted storyline that we came up with. One that I thought was freaking brilliant, which is Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose. And that is the finals of this tournament. And basically, in a nutshell, Roman Reigns turns heel and joins the Authority.
Much like The Rock did against Mankind.
Right.
in
And
1998.
we've compared Dean Ambrose at times to a Mankind-esque, where he's just a punching bag that everyone loves to cheer, and it just makes so much sense. Considering how the mixed reactions from Reigns, I don't think they'll do it, but it was, and we spoke a lot more about that storyline, Kiara and I, off this call, but it was an entertaining storyline.
Yeah, and I don't.
A lot of twists and turns.
Yeah, I would not hate that, especially. But if there's nobody coming back for this, it will be. If you look at it like a normal bracket, your number 1 seed will be Reigns. Your number 2 seed at the bottom will be Ambrose, and they will eventually come together in the finals.
Right, which brings
I don't
me...
think so. I think Owens is going to be in the finals.
I think that
if there's a heel,
but if there's a heel turn, well, let me explain mine.
If there's a heel,
let me explain mine real quick.
Yeah.
I got Reigns versus Sheamus in the first round. Reigns wins. Owens versus Ambrose in the first round. Ambrose wins. Big Show Cesaro in the first round. Big Show wins. Barrett Bryan. Daniel Bryan will return. That's my prediction. And he will beat Barrett. So your semifinal matches will be Reigns against Ambrose, and it's the two buddies against each other. We have a good clean match, and Ambrose is frustrated when he loses, setting up what we get later. Big Show just jobs the fuck out to Bryan. There's a little bit of a history there. All this stuff has kind of history too. So Bryan's Reigns is your final. How about this for a finale? Bryan fights Reigns. Bryan beats Reigns when Ambrose comes out and screws over Reigns. Ambrose heel turn. There it is. Bryan is all excited. He just won, dude. Sheamus, after losing to Reigns in the first round, comes out, cashes the fuck in. Insanity.
And we get that Sheamus Bryan feud that we never wanted.
We were supposed to get it. We were supposed to get it like 1,000 times. Remember they told us that? So I'm just saying, if this you want out of the box, that's outside the box, dude.
I think there's too much involved in that.
Yeah.
Because of the Bryan return.
It's a little Russo-esque.
No. No, listen.
Because of the Bryan return.
Well, the Bryan Sheamus thing, it keeps Reigns away from the championship scene still, which could be key here. You know what I mean?
think that's the key. Unless he's turning heel to join the Authority, I think you need to somehow make sure at the end of Survivor Series he doesn't have the championship.
It would be easy with Sheamus. You could just have Sheamus just walk the fuck down. But like I said,
of course.
Yeah, that's what I think.
And let's not forget, as much as I have Bryan in this tournament, I could easily see that being Triple H, and he just goes a more heel face path against Reigns, and maybe that's where Sheamus comes in to. Then again.
I don't think Triple H would enter the tournament because I don't see Triple H wrestling 3 times in one night. But
well, hold on. Big Show doesn't
maybe he
knock
just fights
out.
the guy after,
or maybe Big Show knocks him out before the match and it's just a quick pin or something. He connives his way out of them, and he can't run after it after the main event. He's got to fight in the main event. Listen, you're losing.
I just don't see him winning the title.
No, but you could see how it fits in there, though. He basically Seth Rollins
is
mini
because he
Triple
wants
H.
to keep the title in the Authority.
Disappointed
but that's
dad has to fucking do it himself. You know what I mean?
That's why I think disappointed dad's gonna have a new son, Sheamus.
Okay, this is all elaborate.
He's adopting Sheamus.
Okay. I agree with Chiari, Tyler Breeze, Ziggler, like the Ambrose, Owens. These are matches that are going to be part of the tournament. Even though
now all these
have 50 matches, you have to get some involved in that.
Yeah, they did have all these singles matches ready, so now you could just be like, here's all your first round matches, or I would say, let's build to them. Let's have Breeze and Ziggler in the same part of the bracket, but they don't meet until the next round.
They're going to face each other in the first round.
Did you say the first
round?
You weren't
listening to me. You weren't.
I wasn't. Dude, I swear to God, I just came up with my whole scenario while you were talking. My genius comes in just
should have been prepared
in waves,
like
dude.
I was.
I didn't know.
I
should have been prepared with a year's worth of storylines like I was.
I know. Are you Vince? No, because you actually have ideas. Vincey, wake up, Vincey!
I'm gonna have my hand glove ready for when Reigns wins, and I'm gonna be so sad when he loses to Sheamus.
It's gonna be bad.
I'm not. I think it's a good angle.
I think honestly
it'll be good for
again,
that Sheamus will have the title for a month.
It's a shot in the goddamn arm for this company, and that's exactly what it needs. All right, you know what? That's all the breaking news I can handle, you guys.
Hey, what about this last thing?
No, the Divas will not have their own series to earn their way into the tournament. No.
Okay.
But
all right. This is not TNA's World Title Series.
Half kidding, with such bad options, I would be all right with Sasha Banks being in the tournament.
Let's have 32 people try to get into the tournament.
How about Oscar? Because she's better than everyone else besides Seth Rollins and one other person.
Who? Kana?
Per Melt.
Per the Melts.
Dude, can I say something? I was watching Dragon Gate the other day, and this random match I saw better
Shingo Tagaki.
better than anything
Bro.
I've ever seen from Shawn Michaels ever in my life ever.
Yep. Agreed.
Match of the year.
6
7
stars.
times over.
6. Didn't know it was possible. Gave it 6 out of 7. Gave it
Mhm.
5 out of 7. I don't know. I can't even mess with that anymore. Okay,
6
guys.
out of 5?
6 out of 5. That's a perfect way to end this fucking
Yeah,
breaking news
exactly.
podcast.
Okay, guys, we really appreciate you coming and checking this out. We will try to do more of this if it's a success, so please spread the word about this. Tell your friends to check this out. We really appreciate your time. I am your host of the most, Donald Wood. Find me on Twitter at Donald_Wood. Mike Chiari, where can they find you?
At Mike Chiari, Chiari.
BG?
BGNY3.
Guys, find us, ringrustradio.com. Find us on YouTube, Facebook. Everywhere you want Ring Rust Radio, you can find us. We appreciate your time, and enjoy your week. We'll see you next Tuesday.